All right, let's see what's going on. Act exposing 50 Cent. Let's see what he got to say about 50 Cent.
And Jay Prince stuff. And then we do have some
Saying
Gunna
50 Cent a
stuff.
fraud.
I see people saying, nah, we need that Ray J and Cam. I will add to the list. Ray J and Cam. Lady Shan says, W Streamer, where's my plane ticket to Miami, Act? Where are you, baby? I'll fly you out.
Act a trick.
Serious, come on. Okay. All right, we could do 50. I think it's important that we do 50, actually.
He's about to expose 50. Let's see what he got. Let's see
I
what's up.
want to
I already
do
know
this
all
in
the
a
50
way, and I'm
shit.
giving you the warning now that we're going to do a deep dive. And you know how we do when we get deep dives. I'm a little bit, winded or long-winded, but we're going to get to the shit. And if you never knew this story, I hope you walk away with knowing some stories.
I know a lot of it. I know a lot. I don't know. I ain't going to say I know the whole thing.
Let me. Here we
go. Let me see. Act. Act going to break it down.
T-shirt. And look. So Mano did an interview.
No problem. Right? So now when he does that, I'm saying, oh.
And Mano, it's funny how Mano's trying to call out 50's character. We're all trying to see his. Mano,
this dude really hates Mano.
Say to you, because after I did I did a lot of research. I know
he don't fuck with Mano at all.
You see me take days off. I know people like, yo, actors is doing some other shit. I seen the kick chat. They were like, yo, I just went to go fuck some college bitch for spring break. No, I'm always researching. You gotta make sure you have the current knowledge. You're ahead of the people who think this is a 9 to 5. Now, I mean, I kind of always had a reason why I always kind of painted Mano as a bully, but I do want to reiterate, Mano, the reason why you're seen as a bully is because your reputation, at least publicly, that hip-hop knows, is you doing things to people that wouldn't do anything to you. And that's a reputation that, for the most part, people frown at. You know why people respect 50? Because 50 is going to go at the people that everybody says, oh, nobody won't smoke with him. That's why perception. I'm only talking about perception. I don't know who's what. We're going to do a deep dive today. So, Mano, when you allegedly slapped Young Berg, yeah, it just shows that you're a bully. We haven't heard the stories. Maybe he has. Of you slapping the shooter, the killer, the gunman. We haven't heard of those stories with you. I've seen the recent episodes. You did some stuff to Lil C's on behest or behalf, or because he disrespected Lil Kim. And no respect to Lil C's, but I think some certain people have kind of like given you the bully title because the people who seemingly want aggressive, violent static with you, you have a different demeanor. And I do actually believe that. The tone that you talk to me with, when 50 addressed you, you made 300 reasons of why you think he wasn't disrespecting you, even though he put your picture up and called all y'all squatters and bums. Now you can't avoid it, but I'm just telling you why, because I've heard him say, I don't know why they say I'm a bully. Yeah, they say you're a bully because they feel like you just haven't picked on any tough people. At least 50 look like he's taking all challenges. Anyway, I digress. So Mano went on Vlad, and of course, the only clip worth watching is him talking about 50 Cent. We all know the Teener Citizens got an ongoing beef with 50 Cent.
Yeah, they beefing.
In that conversation, he gave an interesting but different perspective of how a lot of people view 50 in hip-hop. He basically said 50 was a fake nigga never did nothing, never been through nothing. And the beefs that we know that he's been in, all he's pretty much popular for is being a victim and getting his ass whipped. That was entirely shocking to me. I want to play the clip.
Them cool, and they had a little workout, little bands.
Here we go.
Goes and puts up the post and say,
Well, meaning what exactly? Meaning that you don't think that he did.
Here we go. Here we go.
I never believed that. I had no reason to.
Well, meaning what exactly?
Act gonna take him a shot.
Meaning that you don't think that he
He
did
taking a shot.
gangster activities at various points throughout his life?
No, I don't know. I have no way of knowing that.
Well,
and I don't want to make this whole interview about him, but listen, let me say this.
Too late. Too late.
Mano, that's why Vlad called you up there
Yep.
to do the interview
It's to
about
talk
him.
about 50. Duh. Not to talk about you.
I think he capitalized on the moment. It benefited him. What happened to him? I think two things that happened to him was probably the greatest things that ever happened. And one of those things was the fact that he got shot. Now, the fact that he got shot, well, you know, they say it was 5 times, really, he lied and not, whatever, right? All right.
Interesting.
That justified him wearing a vest, pictures with guns. It justified the imagery. It gave it a storyline. Oh, all these old niggas trying to kill me. Everybody trying to kill me. There's a sense of danger. And then him signing Eminem amplified that. So now you got that storyline. Then you got that machine. That was the
50's a marketing genius, man.
We loved it. There was the underdog that came
Of course
up.
he's gonna use that.
He was all with it, right?
Of course he's gonna use that. That he got shot, lived, and all that. He was already rapping before he got shot. Of course he's gonna use that as a, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Dude's smart, man. 50 ain't no
Anything
stupid
gangster,
nigga.
I don't know nothing about that.
Well, I mean, he was also a great songwriter.
That's-
Yeah,
the
he's
music
a
was-
good.
the music
50
was
Cent
there.
was the shit.
Music was
Still
definitely
We
is.
can't take
But-
nothing. Listen, I'm not taking nothing from no.
Listen, 50 Cent and G Unit and their prime, man, they was running shit. I'm talking about every song, every hit. The G Unit the G Unit compilation album, that shit was fire. Everything that dropped beside until he got to like Candy Shop and all that, that's when 50 started. Boom, boom, boom. But before that, the first Richard Die Trying, all that shit, murder, man, 50, that nigga was the shit. G Unit was the shit. They were running everything. Give a fuck what anybody say. He just got in once he started dropping Candy Shop and all that, well, Window Shopper and all that bullshit. That's when he started. I forgot the name of the album where he's like a little cartoon character muscle. I had the CDs and shit, but that's when it started getting weak. Then Mobb Deep, he signed Mobb Deep and all that. Boom, boom. Mobb Deep did a album with him. They said they had a few hits on there. There was not all that either. The whole album wasn't, but they had some fire hits. But 50 before that and G Unit, man, they was running shit, man. They had dropping nothing but hits. Like Cameron and Div said, nothing but hit after hit after hit. All 50 was doing was dropping hit after hit after hit after hit. All the radio was playing. I remember, because back then it was radio play. Back then, that's all you heard on the radio was 50 Cent, G Unit, 50 Cent, and Dipset, Cameron, Dipset. Hey Ma, all that bullshit, 50 Cent, 21 Questions, all that. That was the shit on the radio. It's all you hear on the radio all day.
Nigga that deserved what he deserved, but I'm not gonna.
Man's a marketing genius, man.
Well, but here's the thing, right? And this is something that really can't be disputed. And I watched this from the outside looking in. G had real serious street beef with a lot of very serious
Well,
guys.
who?
Jimmy Henchman.
They got spanked, nigga. Are you
He
crazy?
keeps downplaying 50.
Oh, really?
They got spanked.
Oh,
What is
wow.
wrong with you?
What do you mean they got spanked?
Yo, Vlad, please, trust me when I'm telling you this. I don't really want to go into all this, but they
But
got
you are.
spanked. What is wrong with you? Jimmy had his way. People died. What are you talking about?
Jimmy had his way.
What are you
he
talking
got-
about?
I mean,
Because
Yayo's
Jimmy's
house got
slapped.
shot up.
And
Over that
Yayo's
situation.
man
I understand
slapped.
that. But
Think
ultimately,
about what you're saying and think about
Jimmy's
what
son,
happened.
Jimmy Henchman's son, and Jimmy Henchman
meaning what? That Jimmy's doing double
did his
life?
thing.
Listen, in that no situation, that situation, they wasn't a victor in that
He
situation.
keep downplaying
Right.
50.
Okay, so what?
But I feel
For
like
what?
these guys stood their ground.
Who stood what ground?
I
It's
think G
easy-
Unit stood their ground.
You don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Okay.
And it's easy to go for with the folklore. What else? Who else?
World.
You don't even know World. World is my childhood friend.
Okay.
Listen, this is things.
forgot.
he
They
wasn't
didn't have beef with World.
Listen, that wasn't no.
The shooting that happened after
Yo,
97.
listen, this is when I don't even want to get into it.
Okay.
One incident happened. Right? You think you really into it with somebody with one incident?
Suge Knight.
Yeah, bro,
The
listen.
stabbing incident at the Vibe Awards.
Yeah.
Yo, listen.
Listen, he's downplaying 50. Man, 50 and G Unit, them niggas used to get in all kind of fights. They're the ones that robbed Gunplay from Brick Ross camp. They're the ones that robbed Gunplay. 50 and his crew was fucking wrecking shit. They was really doing it, man. They was stabbing niggas at award shows, snatching chains off the ops. They was running shit back then, man. He keep downplaying 50 Cent and G Unit, man. Before all the fame and all the rap, the movie acting and all that, and the movies and all that, 50 Cent and G Unit, they were on that real shit, man. On some real street shit. Maybe not young Lloyd Banks as much, but them niggas Game and Young Buck and them niggas and Yayo, they were on that. And 50, they were on that. The whole G Unit was on that. Lloyd Banks not so much, but the rest of them were on that.
Look, all I'm saying is,
There was
I don't
a
have
million.
No reason to believe
There was a million incidents
gangsta
with
shit.
G
You
Unit
believe
and
whatever you
50.
wanna believe. I ain't here to
But
tell
we're
you
talking
nothing.
about action.
Okay, all right. Hold on, let me just.
He keep
For instance,
downplaying them.
These-
We saw the video at the Vibe Awards, right?
What happened at the Bible Wars?
The
Niggas,
guy
they stabbed
that
nigga
attacked
up.
them and them getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Attacked who?
Attacked Dr. Dre.
What
Who
that
was
got to
with
do-
them?
What that had to, yo, bro.
They were there with Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, leave me.
They
yo,
were
bro.
signed to Dr. Dre.
Yo, bro, listen to me.
Back,
I'm not gonna debate you on
Vlad
another
know-
man.
Vlad know what he's
I'm
talking
speaking
about.
from my perspective, and it is what it is. Like, I don't have no reason to believe nothing extra.
From what I hear,
Those
Young Buck
incidents that
is
you
the
talking
one
about,
that stabbed homeboy.
whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That when Young
People
Buck
lost
was
lives. Like,
straight.
look, it don't even matter to me, right? Look, like I said, you believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. I know truth. I think it's all a character act, whatever, man.
Now, well, this is why y'all have me here, Chad. And I took Mano up on his request. You know, Mano said some things that I never knew about. According to Mano, 50 got spanked in several, altercations or street run-ins. And I guess I'm going to call this segment, Is 50 a fraud? Now, I'm asking a question piggybacking off Mano. I don't know. Well, I know now, but because I've done the research. But I do want to tell you a story, and we do have to watch something. Something that's going to really laboriously point stuff out. But in case you didn't know, I want to give you a quick recap of what he's talking about. He said that, there was a beef between 50 and Jimmy Henchman. And according to Mano, he says 50 completely got spanked. Now, I did so much research trying to figure out, like, what's what. And, I was reading so much court documents because over time, usually back in the day, it's like, you hear things on the street. By the time everybody, it's like 10 years, 15 years later, everybody went to trial. Everybody done snitched on each other. Everybody took the stand. You kind of get the real story. So let me kind of break down this idea of 50 Cent and Jimmy Henchman beef. Now, Jimmy Henchman was always one of the people who
Behind the
was wanted by,
scenes.
this is him here. He was always wanted by hip-hop police.
Mm-hmm.
Not only hip-hop police, just police in general. He was like this interested figure who was like this hustler, but, definitely in the streets. 50 had beef previously, with Preem and whatever. But I want to stick on this one particular beef because that's what Mano was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a short time lapse of
I
what
think
happened.
Yayo's
and
man
then,
slapped his son or
like
something.
usual, I don't want you to take me at my word. You're going to see much more conversation about it. So essentially, Jimmy Henchman basically starts managing the game after the game signs to G-Unit. And according to what people on 50's side say, they kind of accuse Jimmy Henchman of being the main antagonist that gets in the game's ear to say, man, fuck 50. You could be bigger than him. You just got to go against him. Okay? The game starts going against 50. Okay? It's really tense at this point. 50 really, obviously, 50's like the big artist is in third, but there's a whole G Unit crew.
Yeah, but
Reportedly,
it's way before this. They had beef way before this.
Jimmy Henchman goes to an event and this is kind of how it really started. And I'm going to start with the violent stuff. Jimmy Henchman and someone goes to a concert at the Apollo Theater. While at the theater or at the event, there was some G Unit niggas. And they basically confronted Jimmy and they said, what's up with your nigga gang? What's up with him? What's popping with him? And supposedly, as the story goes, these G Unit dudes who was pressing Jimmy Henchman, and he's with like one or two people, they eventually say, yo, listen, yo, we got a problem. Like, what's up? It's a typical New York thing. Yo, we got a problem. And they usually try to show themselves. Supposedly, there's a guy named Maserati Fox. We'll get back to him. He pulls a pistol and he's like, what's up? Now, there was no violence that happened. But that was the clear signal that this beef had gotten off the rails. Like these situations with, this tension with 50 and the game. And this guy now who's like managing, but like meddling into like these different things. We see the game kind of with Fat Joe, all the people that 50's kind of going at because they're cool with Ja. And essentially, G Unit niggas pull a pistol. By the way, I'll let you know when 50's involved, but G Unit is just a bunch of niggas. Guy Maserati Fox pulls a gun. When he pulls, when that happens, no violence happens. Apparently, they kind of act like they got something too. And, cooler heads did prevail. That's good. And they left. Well, Jimmy Henchman is not no pushover. He wasn't going to take that punkin' and sunning lightly. And subsequently, what he ended up doing, he was going to retaliate for that. And because guns came out, he showed his true character. He wasn't scared of making them guns really sound. There's slightly different reports. Some people say same night. A lot of reports I keep hearing say a couple days later. A couple days later,
They slapped his son.
Yayo
Yeah,
was
with his mans.
parked in New York. And he was in a truck that was bulletproof.
And
but
they saw Jimmy
his Bentley
Henchman's
was parked
son.
in the truck.
They seen his son is what happened. From what Yayo said was that they were together and homeboy slapped Jimmy Henchman's son. Then Jimmy Henchman found out and boom, homeboy ended up getting killed.
Apparently, a gunman sent by Jimmy Henchman pulled up, shot up the car. It was a clear message to 50 sending them, y'all niggas think y'all could pull guns out on us and try to intimidate us. Nigga, y'all will die fucking with us. That's how it goes.
You know how Yayo's story goes though. He ain't gonna tell you the whole thing. He gonna tell you the good part.
I'm probably gonna miss out on certain stuff,
Right,
but that's why
ask
we're gonna watch a
Yayo.
longer thing. I'm gonna speed it up, don't worry. But from there on, the beef really devolved into a lot of violence.
Yeah,
50 at a point.
Jimmy was on that.
Was on the radio station. The game, he announced the game was no longer part of G Unit. G Unit, game pulled up to Hot 97. That was the station it was at. And when Game and his crew pulled up, shots were fired. Reportedly, G Unit people shot outside of a door and hit one of Game's people. more violence continues to happen. I hope I'm telling y'all that this is why when Mano says this, I'm like, Mano, these guys were putting their lives on the line. We've known you to slap Young Bird. So I'm really wondering, where is the 50s
Here we go
of
back to
fraud?
this and
But
Mano.
keep listening to the story, and we're gonna get much more into it.
Back to this and
So
Mano.
cool. Apparently, one time, in New York, Jimmy Henchman's son
Yeah.
is walking down the street and he's wearing a shirt with some language that made Tony Yayo and another guy, his name is Lodi Mack, feel, oh, they fuck with the ops. Now it was a boy, it was a teenager that was walking down the street. They hopped out, they pulled up on the kid, they roughed him up. Reportedly is that Tony Yayo slapped the kid. And reportedly, again, Maserati Fox.
It happened to be
No.
Jimmy Henchman's son.
Sorry. Yeah, no, not Maserati Fox. Sorry. Lodi Mack pulls the gun on the kid. The kid basically tells his pops after, he gets upstairs, he's like, yo, these G-Unit niggas, they slapped me, da-da-da-da. From then on, it was World War X, at least in New York for these two people. I'll give you some of the things that happened.
Lodi Mack got killed.
Tony Yayo's car gets firebombed. Tony Yayo's mom's house gets shot up. They tried to shoot and either hurt 50 or somebody in G-Unit when 50 was doing a video shoot. They were pulling up to shoot at it. By the way, they shot at Tony Yayo's house supposedly 70 times with some gun with a silencer on it. They brought the same gun to go shoot up the music video shoot that 50 was at, trying to kill 50. The only thing that stopped that is that they were so excited on the way to go shoot up because they heard that, oh, they're 50 of them shooting a music video. On the way to shoot it up, the gun went off in the car. That spoiled everything because they were following somebody who was supposed to be working for security for that day. So they were like, all right, security going to bring us to the guys. We're going to shoot that whole shit up. And the gun went off.
Neck hurts, from work.
That spoiled that. Some other stuff happened, and you're going to hear more or less of it, but 50 had like this guy, one of the guys who ended up going down the 6ix9ine thing, his name is Crippy. He has a brother named Monster. That was like one of the bodyguards, main guys for 50. He started doing certain stuff to send, apparently, him and some other people start doing things to make sure the other side knew, hey, if y'all could shoot up cars, we could shoot up cars too.
Yeah, I think he left out the part where the kid that they slapped or whatever, that was Jimmy Henchman's apparent. Allegedly, it was his son. After that, that's when all hell broke loose. That's when Yayo mom got shot up. Yeah, Henchman was on that. He left that
Jimmy
part
Henchman
out.
gets mad because he says 50 is always in a bulletproof vehicle. You can't catch him lacking. He's just always in a bulletproof vehicle.
After getting shot
What
that many
happened is
times, I
Jimmy's
would
an
be
interesting
too.
guy.
If I had the money.
He's like Flacco. Or really just say, he's really like a civilian. It's like me. He'll use any method to defeat his opponent. He'll get them locked up. He'll kill them. He'll do anything. There's even an interesting time. Right before, because remember his son got slapped. Right before he got revenge for his son getting slapped, and yes, somebody died. He said, man, I can't even sleep. This guy was so thirsty for revenge, he couldn't sleep. Eventually, he found, the guy who was supposedly with Yayo. His name is Lodi Mac. Lodi Mac got locked up because the baby mama of the boy, which is his son, they did go to the cops. This shit was in 4K video on tape. They were about to get Yayo for it, but Yayo is a star. The other guy says, "I'll take the charges." He gets locked up for some time, and after a couple weeks of him getting released, he gets killed. That's how much you should see this nigga was on some get back shit. How that happens? Well, Jimmy Henchman meets a guy that was friends with a guy that was the cellmate of Lodi Mac while he was incarcerated. And they lined him up and they murdered him. Jimmy Henchman gets arrested for drugs, but later he gets murder for hire charges. All the people who he supposedly hired turned against him. He then gets desperate, then tries to do whatever else. That's why 50 says he's whatever. But it's a really interesting story. That's the short of it. Before I get to the long pause. But the main thing I do want you to know is why I looked at what Mano said as utterly
downplaying 50.
ignorant, but also I want to hear these stories about him. The reality is G-Unit versus Jimmy Henchman, there is no winners. It's just a prototypical example of the streets. A lot of bodies, a lot of lost opportunities, and a lot of people who are in the penitentiary for dumbass choices. And 50's just happens to be one of those who was smart enough to not put himself in a vice grip, that he's either in a coffin or that he's in a jail cell. I want to play this real quick. I'm going to speed it up a bit. But it's worth it. No, that's the court version. Sorry.
Yeah. Mano downplaying. He knows what's
and
up.
the game ran deeper than we initially thought. On the music end of things, it was the game going after 50 and the unit with his G-Unit and Stop Snitching campaign.
G-Unit.
On the street side, it was Jimmy Henchman,
Is this sped up?
game's manager,
Oh, hold on,
who
not
was
yet.
just thirsty for blood, so it was all-out war between both crew. When it was all said and done, the folks pushing the Stop Snitching campaign ended up snitching on each other after the feud between 50 and them led to multiple violent acts, including the hit on the G-Unit affiliate, Lodi Mac.
Now, again, also I want to say, I'm going to tell you why all this information was so new to me. I mostly thought all that tough shit when it came to the game and 50 was from the game and some West Coast niggas. Turns out it was Jimmy Henchman heating that shit all the way up. But listen.
Henchman's own trusted crew members ended up sealing his fate in court when he testified against them, leading to multiple life sentences. We now get the full picture of everything that transpired during those times.
They're gonna use court stuff.
Testimonies from Henchman's own hitters, which I'm gonna break down thoroughly and use to fill in all the missing pieces that were never made public. It's a lot of 50 documentaries up here with folks just slapping around clips together.
All right, okay,
of what
okay.
they
Come on,
heard
brother.
on lock. At the time,
Here we
in
go.
50 Cent, that put him in the light
Okay.
by 50 Cent single.
So I'm gonna skip to the part where Henchman comes in. Okay, so he puts on the game, Henchman comes in.
One of the things you gotta remember about these music dudes is that a lot of these music dudes don't have no principles and no backbone. A lot of these dudes, man, is able to cut. They're ready,
What the fuck?
and able to compromise their principles to
can't hear.
get in positions that they're in. And that's one of the things that we refuse to do.
Let's break down Jimmy's empire structure. Pay attention to
Okay.
great competition with Jimmy Saw Entertainment Company. And he even went as far as setting up his office almost across the street from Lighty's office on 25th Street in Manhattan.
Talking about Chris
Jimmy,
Lighty.
seeing the success that the game had generated before his album dropped, started getting into the game's ear, letting him know he could be bigger than 50 Cent. Henchman started conflicting 50 when he started releasing Game's record while 50 was structuring his G-Unit roster drops. Tef,
Okay, so the first egregious thing, 50 starts feeling away because the game is dropping music outside of schedule. The game is on, but he's dropping music. He's not respecting the hierarchy. And oh no, it's Bank's turn. It's Yayo's turn, right? He's just doing what he want to do.
confirmed this in court.
What was your understanding about what the problem between Jimmy and G Unit was about? Drop those game records.
Because he's trying to get his money first, recoup his money off his artists. And at the time, he's building momentum for his team, and we are going to use it. Jimmy was going to use it for his. The game's first album, the documentary,
documentary,
dropped on
that shit
January
was
18,
fire,
2005,
too.
and it
That shit
became an
was
instant
hard.
Success. It debuted at #1 on the U.S. Billboard 200, selling 586,000 units in its first week.
Now, who are some of the key people, man, that put you where you are right now? I mean,
Oh, man, Dr. Dre, man.
right.
That's it.
Damn.
50 Cent at the time had just crushed the whole Murder Inc., Ja Rule and Irv on the music side, and Preem on the streets. So when Jadakiss and Fat Joe jumped on the New York track with Ja to bring him back some life, 50 went at both of them. And Nas on Piggy Bank off his second album that is scheduled to drop first quarter of 2005.
Yeah, 50 can't
The
fuck
Game,
with Nas.
Being the new G Unit member with the documentary album out that is buzzing, is asked about his thoughts about Fat Joe, Jada, and Nas beef. And he responds saying he would stay out of that.
I'm not getting into that.
According to rumors back in the day, Fat Joe ended up he beat the shit out of 50 Cent. They got in a beat, and I tell you what, Fat Joe, they be calling him Cap all the time on that new show he got with Jada. Fat Joe, when they was in his prime too, with the Terror Squad, them niggas wasn't no joke. He was running with like 50 crazy Puerto Ricans. I seen him in Miami and when Big Pun was alive, rest in peace. I seen them niggas terrorizing shit in Miami. Them niggas wasn't no joke. And rumor is that Fat Joe ran into 50 Cent and them, and Fat Joe beat the brakes out for 50 Cent, beat him up one-on-one, fucked him up.
You're not gonna get into it.
Allegedly.
Jay Fitz is a good friend of mine, and I've had a chance to meet and talk to Fat Joe on several occasions, and I think that they're perfectly good dudes.
50 caught wind of what was being said and immediately went on a press run denouncing the game.
Talk about so basically, the game kind of made it, obvious that he's not gonna pick a side when the game 50 started going at certain people outside of Ja Rule, and 50 didn't like it.
The G Unit for a minute, 50. Now I read where you said Game was about to be dropped from Aftermath Interscope before you got involved. That's true?
Yes, it was absolutely the truth.
How did that transpire?
Creatively, the tires got stuck in the mud, and you know what I mean? So we actually got together. I recorded 6 records on Game's new album.
Right.
I did West Side Story, How We Do, Hated to Love It, Church for Thugs, Special, and Higher. You see what I'm saying? And he came back recently from overseas and was disrespectful, man. Like the way he's like, it's like he's feeling himself, like because of how well his record is selling.
Mm-hmm.
So I openly, I wouldn't expose what I did for the project, but I wrote those records. I created the concept of those records, and he rapped around it. He's a great
taking a
rapper,
piss real
not
quick
a
and
good
grabbing a Red Bull.
songwriter. You know what I mean?
There's a difference.
It's a major difference.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And he says a lot of people's names for shock value. He says things he doesn't mean.
On February 28, 2005, 50 Cent is live on Funk Flex when he says the game is no longer part of G Unit. The game and a few Black Wall Street guys went up to Hot 97 to confront 50, but they were met with shots at the front door.
Enough's enough? It's Hot 97, Funk Flex. We focused. Hey, it's okay, fellas. Hey, it's all great.
Henchman had sent Tef to go meet up with the game for protection. He was about to join the mob when sparks started flying towards the crowd. Here are Tef's statements.
How did you come to be at Hot 97 that day?
Jimmy called me and asked me to escort Game up there, meet Game up there. He wanted to talk to 50.
Who wanted to talk to 50?
The Game.
Did you go there?
Yes.
Who was there when you got there?
When I got there, Game was there with a whole bunch of California dudes. And 50's trucks were parked outside, and they were upstairs.
What happened when you came to Hot 97 that day?
As I was walking down, got onto the block, I see a large crowd in front of the building, and I see a hand come from the doors and started shooting at the crowd that I was going to meet. for no reason, just fired shots into the crowd from 50's entourage.
You said there was a handout of a door. Do you see the door on this picture?
He confirmed it. Hot 97 door. Whoever was downstairs, the mysterious hand, who is still unknown till today, let off a shot to his Game and them, hitting one of Game's homies, New Jersey Devil. Tef says the Game was teary-eyed and shook up after the incident and wanted something to happen. So Tef took it up on himself to wait at Violator's office, but seeing that nobody came there, shot up the building. According to Tef, Inchman was not too happy about the Game using his guys for free. He made him pay for that.
Did anyone order you to do the shooting at Violator Records?
No.
Did you talk to anyone about the shooting afterwards?
Yes.
Chat, this is really compelling. It's giving you a lot of backstory to 50 Cent's, you know.
Yeah, this is deep.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I didn't know all this.
I did watch it before. I didn't know it was this deep.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
that's
some of the
said.
stuff, like,
That's exactly what I just said. I didn't know it
heard
was this. I didn't know it was this deep. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I didn't know it was this deep.
Rumors, but like, it all did come out in court. That's why this is so good, because you're hearing the court testimony now. I hope you guys aren't bored, but tell me if you are. If you guys aren't bored, I'll watch it with y'all. If y'all get bored, we'll move on to something else. But it's gonna get super deep in it. You'll get to find out who 50 really is.
Who did you talk to?
I spoke to Jimmy.
What did you say to him? And what did he say in response?
I don't remember the whole conversation, but it was more or less that he said, don't be doing that stuff for them dudes, and don't be doing that stuff for free.
My whole thing to Game was, if we do this, if you do this, we fuck hip-hop up. And it's hard for me to say that, because I come from the streets too. For me to look at Game and say, he shot your friend, but don't do anything.
On March 3rd, 2005, 50 drops his second album, The Massacre, which debuted
That's
at
the
number
album
one on
I'm
the
talking
US
about.
Billboard 200.
It was
selling
not all that.
1.15 million copies in its first 4 days and
To me,
stayed atop the chart for 6 weeks after its release. It was scheduled to release back on February 15th. The original title for the album was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but Interscope wasn't interested, so Fifth leaks Disco Inferno to force their hand. It became an instant success. Nobody at the time was doing those type of numbers in any music genre, so that automatically put
Yeah, that's
50
when they were
at the
still
top of the
running
game.
shit.
Piggy Bank. The track was causing a lot of commotion, and all the people he had dissed are now throwing back shots. And now Fifth and his West Coast protege are beefing. So the controversies helped generate a huge buzz around the album. Fans, they're a bit skeptical about the timing of things though. Some were saying the beef was a promotional stunt, but the OGs like the Rev Run and the Russell Simmons, they knew better. Shots been fired. It ain't no promotional stunt. It's real. And in order to change the negative narration in hip-hop, Rev Run and Russell Simmons, they set up a meeting calling for a truce on the 8th year anniversary of Biggie's passing on March 9th of 2005. Both 50 and the Game, they didn't look too thrilled to be there, but they still did it. That truce was short-lived though. They both
Yeah, that
had
was
the
fake.
2 hottest albums in the game at the moment, and they're both doing interviews and press runs. And people are starting to whisper that the Game's album might be better than 50's.
It was.
In which Game wasn't giving 50 any credit for all the songs he had helped him with.
Yeah,
on the
because
album.
that song "Hate It Love It," that song alone with 50 on it, that song alone shot that album to the top. It was 50 had a lot to do with that documentary album. Like he said, he got 6 songs on there, but that "Hate It Love It," that was the shit. That's just one of them. But that alone had that song alone was better than that whole Massacre album.
I'm not gonna say that he didn't help with the project because he played a small part.
He played a big part, a big part.
G-Unit is here, 50's here, and Game can be anywhere in between that and probably even bigger.
You're
My
on
bad.
mute.
This is one of the DVDs I remember hearing this guy on. I thought it was just like a hip hop commentator. I didn't really realize who he was at the time.
And you can't suppress that. You can't suppress that with just G-Unit.
50 is the type of guy that lives and believes in certain principles derived from the 48th law of power.
I heard you say once, you know, M's a general, but he knows how to be a soldier with Dre. You're a general, but you know how to be a soldier with M and Dre.
And that's just being conscious of yourself. Because, I mean, you know the laws of power, you never outshine the master. if you got somebody that's actually over you in your chain of command, you always.
Law number 1, never try to outshine a master. Law number 15, crush your enemies totally. The game finally lets its true feelings be known at Summer Jam stage that year in 2005.
Damn, I remember this.
Me too. That's when he dropped that 1,000 bars. Oh my God, that shit was so hard. That 1,000 bars.
Now, keep in mind, Summer Jam is in New York City. The game is from the West Coast, so this was like huge.
Do you not do all them shits out in the crowd?
The game was feeling confident because of his ties to Jimmy Henchman and his strong team. So he went on a full-blown lyrical war against 50 and the unit. He dropped 300 bars.
My
which
bad.
think should
I said 1,000 bars. I said 1,000 bars. 300 bars. That song right there, that shit was like 10 minutes long. That song right there is so motherfucking hard. Look it up. You don't know it, look it up. 300 bars by The Game. That song's so hard. This and 50.
go down as one of the best diss songs
Hell
of all
yeah.
time.
Hell
this
yeah.
song and Their Beef.
It's like
basically
10
split up
minutes
50's
long.
Huge fan base at the time. The Game also started his G-Unit and the No Snitching campaign. He comes to New York and links up with Fat Joe in the BX and also goes
Terror
to Queens
Squad.
around 50 Stomping Ground, where a huge G-Unit poster is hanging in front of the building. We all assumed it was the Game's doing at the time, but he was just the face.
So that's important to know. 50 Game beef was really never 50 and Game. It was really 50 and Jimmy Henchman. The Game was the face.
Stuff you took to the
That's actually my first stop. I'm going to Queens to see about this G-Unit billboard. I heard the spec.
So you're running with this.
I mean, not just going.
Now, some people feel like Game was playing dumb.
Yeah,
but like,
he is.
a lot of people were like,
He is playing
the
dumb.
Game don't have no East Coast niggas, and no West Coast niggas really did nothing. So really, it was always 50 and it was always Jimmy Henchman doing all the shit to make Game look like he was, because there was a time it looked like the Game was just running through everywhere, but apparently it was more Jimmy
It was
Henchman.
Jimmy Henchman.
I don't know who did it. I just want to see it.
Oh.
We thought you did it.
We thought it was you.
Game even went all the way to Connecticut to 50th Street, trespassing and creeping through the bushes in the neighborhood for
The
a Stop
Blair
Snitch and
Snitch-
Stop Lying
Blair
DVD
Snitch
he
Project.
put out that summer. All this was going on while 50 Cent was overseas, and 50 had a lot of beef coming his way now because of that diss to his Fat Joe and Jadakiss.
Yeah,
Throughout
Fat
the
Joe
months
beat
that
up
followed,
50
both
Cent
sides went after
allegedly.
each other on numerous interviews and a lot of diss records back and forth, all of which generated huge interest in the media and more record sales. Controversy sells.
Shout out to Gaddafi and his sons for having us out Venice. You know, I appreciate the half a mil, baby. But 30
Garbage.
minutes,
This was garbage.
747. I'm serious, man. You need to come play for my team. Hey, man. Hey, that Jimmy, man. See, that's why I don't like the old school niggas, man. I really don't like the old school niggas. Now, you know Jimmy told him to do that. Go out there and say, she do not.
On the surface, all we saw was the Game dissing 50, but now 50 is throwing in Jimmy Henchman's name in the mix, letting us know who was pulling the strings behind the scene. But I don't think people caught on back then. The Game dropped Doctors Advocate
I didn't catch on.
album on November 14th, 2006 with the absence of Dr. Dre, who has to pick sides because of the back and forth going on. Doctors Advocate debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200, selling 358,000 copies in its first week, making it Game's second #1 album on the chart. It was all just back and forth disses after the truce, and nothing more yet till it came time for the mixtape awards
So they squashed the beef and they kind of got back into it.
at the Apollo Theater in December of
That's when the
2006.
stabbing
Now,
happened.
this is where it gets interesting. Now we're
Yeah.
going to get into, there's really real shit
Yeah,
happening.
that's where the stabbing
Because
happened.
remember, the Game is from the West Coast, but really, the guy who he's getting into it with is on the East doing his thing. Remember, it's really
Oh
50
no,
and
hold
Jimmy.
on. I don't think this was the stabbing. I think this was when the homeboy got shot, where Lomac got
Henchman, not
killed.
50 versus Game.
I don't know. Shit.
Tony Yayo, and Maserati Fox,
Yeah.
another G Unit affiliate,
Here?
and about 20 other individuals bum rushed into the venue
Yeah.
Oh, I know
without
Yayo was
stopping
there.
for security while Henchman was inside. Henchman went to approach Yayo on a friendly note, greeting him in Creole since they're both Asian descent. He goes, "Sak Basé," but there was no
Nabule.
Mabule.
Sak Basé,
Yayo
Nabule.
immediately pressed him about his guy game. During the heat of the moment, in reading body language, Mozzie flashed the pistol at Henchman, asking, "What does he want to do?" But Yayo didn't give the call. Henchman was with Tef and Abdullah, and they managed to slip away through a back door of the theater. Tef had just beat his gun case the day before from an incident where Henchman had him stake out Chris Lighty's office, but police did a stop and frisk on him, and he ended up getting booked. So now he's right back into the action the very next day.
Yeah.
For most of
Hitman. They
you
were
who
hitman.
aren't familiar with Maserati Fox, he was a longtime friend of 50 Cent and also was a highly active individual in these streets, to say the least. While remembering Maserati Fox, this was how Yayo recanted the story on Vlad TV.
I told you pull the strap out in the Apollo, like with Jimmy Henchman.
So remember, so this is where now it's getting real staticky, y'all.
Mm-hmm. That's what Yayo was talking about it.
What's
Yeah.
one to do? No, it's the Fox. Oh, he got the hammer out.
Here was Al Abdullah and Tef saw it.
Did there come a time when you attempted to shoot at Violator again?
Yes,
What year was that about?
maybe 06.
How did it come to be that you did that?
Jimmy had asked me, then called it off and called me again. And I interpreted that he wanted me to do it again and went over there with Andre. He was parked on 26th Street, and as I was cutting through the alley, I was stopped randomly by police. I was put under arrest. I don't
This
know
shit's
why.
very interesting.
Until they searched and found a gun. In the car, which was on the next block over, they went back to the car, found a gun in the car.
Now remember, this is Jimmy Henchman's people.
And it was kind of odd, but we were both arrested, charged with gun possession.
Were you involved in any conflict with G Unit immediately after the gun case was dismissed?
Yes.
Just briefly, what incident?
We went, me,
Here it goes.
Jimmy, I think Courtney, and I think maybe Teddy. It was a long time ago. We went to the Apollo, and
What's the Apollo?
the Apollo Theater in Harlem.
About what month and year was this?
It was the day after I won the trial, the pre-trial. Just got released.
About what year would that make it?
I'm thinking 06, late 06. I went and met Jimmy up there. It was Mixtape Awards being held there, and we walked through security. And behind us, we just hear real loud commotion. G-Unit bum rushed the doors, bypassed security. So we kind of knew why they were doing that. Jimmy was, I don't know who approached. I think they saw us. They stood by the stairs and Jimmy greeted one of them. Greeted Tony Yayo in a friendly manner in Creole. Qu'est-ce se passe? It's like, hi, how you doing? I guess. And he wasn't.
Yeah,
So,
that's that
I
Creole.
just
I
wanna
speak
point out-
Creole. I speak Creole
And
too
again,
now,
we're
Chad.
fact-checking
I
Mano
speak a
on
little
everything
Creole.
he's saying.
I speak a little Creole too. I lived in West Palm Beach, in Miami and West Palm Beach for many years, so I had a lot of Haitian friends.
Okay? The point of,
Oh, your
of
boy
this
speak
is
Creole.
remember.
Como
Okay, I want you
ye?
guys to remember.
Muy bien.
It
Que se
looks like
passe,
after the whole
Nabule?
thing game, it kind of falls out. G-Unit tries to press Henchman, like, what's good with game? So they try to press him, and you're going to hear what happens.
Taken to it. He had an attitude and more or less pressed him. Like, what's up with your boy Game?
Who said that?
Tony Yayo.
What happened after that?
In an aggressive manner towards Jimmy. And it was, I don't remember the exact words, but it was more or less us going back and forth with them. We went upstairs. I tapped them, let's go upstairs. They eventually came upstairs. A mob of them, about 20 or 30 of them.
Damn.
A mob of who?
G-Unit.
What happened upstairs?
Maybe about 20 or 30 of them. It looked like they tried to trap us off from leaving. One guy named Fox, Maserati Fox, tried to block off the entrance. The other 20, 30 dudes stood at the other exit. I backed up, grabbed a bottle, had it under my coat. He thought it was a gun. He walked away. We got out of there safely. I grabbed Jimmy. I said, let's go. We got out of there safely. Abdullah's statement.
What did you do after that?
We went to my car.
And who was the we who went to your car?
Me, Jimmy, and Tef.
What happened inside the Escalade?
Nothing. I was just like, wow, I can't believe that nonsense that just took place. I said, you deal with this type of stuff all the time? He was just like, that's all right, man. I'll deal with it later on. Who said that? Jimmy. I was like, well, I'm going to deal with it right now. I made a call, called Akbar. Told him to bring me some situations over. I had a problem.
What did you mean by that?
My guns.
Why were you asking for guns?
Because I intended on using
So
them.
G-Unit punks Jimmy Henchman. Yayo's there. That's I had a newfound respect for what you call it again, for Yayo, because I didn't know Yayo was really on the ground like
Yeah,
that.
he was like that. That's why he was
Yayo
put in
and
the
Maserati
prison.
Fox made a crucial mistake. They showed their hands and didn't use it to a gangster with a lot of money and resources in the streets. It was on now. Yayo's Bentley got shot up that same night.
Okay, so in this version, the same day they kind of like almost try to press them in the Apollo Theater. They're saying the same day they shoot up, Jimmy Henchman supposedly gets people to shoot up his Bentley. Holy shit.
Days later, Diddy tried to broker a truce between Chris Lighty and Henchman, but the two started scuffling and Diddy had to break it up. Sometime after that incident, Tef testified about how 50 of them spotted Henchman at a restaurant and chased him down the highway, but he got away, and he had to ship his cars to Miami to avoid detection.
Were there ever any attempted acts against Jimmy?
He told me about one.
What did he tell you?
That, well, I told you about, the Apollo. And he told me about a time that he was at a restaurant and he saw 50 Cent. And when he was leaving, he felt like they tried to ambush him. They were following him on the West Side Highway and tried to pull up on him. And somehow he got away.
Did he say anything to you about what, if anything, he did after that incident?
He got rid of the car that he was driving that they knew he would be in, and he sent it down to Miami.
50 Cent the rapper, he'll be known as 50 Cent the rapper, and 50 Cent the street legend will be known as 50 Cent the street legend. There's no comparison. To me, that's a great honor to know that I knew that person who influenced that. I'm not living the fantasy of the music business. I need to keep firm on the ground because I don't know when I'm gonna be banned from this game.
On March 24th, 2007, after all the back and forth and cat and mouse games, Yayo and Lodi Mac run into a kid wearing a Czar Entertainment hoodie by Henchman's office. It was 14-year-old Jabulani, Henchman's son.
Look at
Tony
that.
Yayo
Yep.
slapped the kid, and Lodi flashed a pistol at him, all caught on surveillance cameras, sending a very, very strong message to his pops. This incident will change the whole course of this beef.
That's
because
when the
right
war
after that
started.
incident,
So it says that 50. No. It says that Yayo did the slapping, but that slapping is the thing that really got everything off the rails.
Started, yeah.
Right,
like not started,
this dude's
but
son gets
yeah.
slapped.
Jimmy had blood all in his eyes, and he wouldn't stop till he saw one of them in a coffin. He was personally involved in some of the get-backs against 50 of them. He wanted to get them legally on the streets and through music. On that same day, Chris Lighty's brother was slashed by Tef. Henchman didn't want to involve Chris Lighty because he felt like he didn't have anything to do with that. But Tef pumped him up, letting him know all bets are off now and it's personal.
What happened when you got to the office?
Yeah, Yayo is not right for that. How you gonna slap a little kid, bro? You a grown ass street fucking dude with a fucking bodyguard with you, because Lodi Mac was probably a bodyguard at the time, because by then they were blowing up. He had a Bentley, so yeah. How you gonna snap a little fucking kid, 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid or whatever? That's fucking crazy.
Walked in the office and I saw Jimmy, Teddy, and Jabulani. Jimmy was upset. Jabulani looked upset, he looked like he might have been crying, a little shaken up.
About how old was Jabulani at that time?
About 13,
Little kid,
14,
that's my
maybe.
daughter's age.
What did you learn happened?
That G-Unit had slapped him up. roughed him up, and pulled out guns on him.
Pulling guns on a 13-year-old is crazy.
You learned
And
who,
slapping
if
a
anyone,
13-year-old is
from
crazy.
G Unit was involved.
I heard Yayo and 50 might have been in the truck, but at that time, that was, and some other street guys.
What happened when you got down?
So they're saying that maybe 50 was on the scene when this person gets like slapped up or whatever, or this kid actually. But now,
Kid, the fucking little
remember,
kid.
it's getting violent. Then they slap the guy who they want's kid.
There's.
We were all talking, all just congregating downstairs. Somebody said, "That's Chris Lighty's brother walking past. Him and another guy." I spoke to Jimmy. I asked him what he wanted to do. If I remember right, he was like, I don't remember the exact words, but it was more like they didn't have nothing to do with it. And I just didn't agree with it. I felt like, and I explained to him that, they did that to your son. All gloves should be off.
What was Jimmy's reaction, if anything, when you said all gloves should be off?
He just looked at me and he just nodded. He nodded his head like in agreement. He got in deep thought. He just nodded his head in agreement.
Now, I want to give you a little bit of precursor as we're watching this. This guy's, the reason why we're hearing this info, he testified. So,
Duh.
just keep
You
in
think?
mind, and this is why I think people look at 50 as being smart, because the guy who's now testifying, he was in Jimmy Henchman's ear at the time saying, yo, gloves is off you, bro. You got to go crazy. Like, niggas playing with your family, you got to go crazy, bro. Right? Like, that's literally what this is. So he's gassing Jimmy up to crash out, and at the end of the day, he ends up testifying on Jimmy.
What did you do next?
I asked him if he had a razor.
What happened?
He asked around. I think he might have got it from Lil D. He gave it to me, and I started to walk behind him, and he saw me walking up. Chris Lighty's brother saw me walking up on him. And as I swung at him with it, he flinched. I didn't get him how I wanted to, but I think I touched him with it.
Mr. Stewart, did you see Jimmy's attitude towards the feud in the G Unit change at all during this time?
Yes.
What did you notice?
He was always upset.
Did you discuss with Jimmy a way that you were going to approach that rivalry with G Unit?
Yes, he told me a way.
What was the way?
That he will deal with it with the law, with the streets, and through the media.
So let's start with the first one. Through the law.
Yeah,
do you mean by
what do you
that?
mean by
That he
the
was
law?
gonna have his baby mother press charges against him. Tony
Oh,
Yayo
shit.
and Lodi Mack ended up getting charged for the assault. Yayo got probation and Lodi took the rap. Henchman had people outside sitting at the courthouse to catch license plates so they can get G-Unit affiliate addresses. Tef sheds light on a get back.
Yo, they were trying to kill 50 so bad. They were
at the courthouse.
Well, I guess it was criminal, but because the baby mama pressed charges, they were just sitting there waiting to get license plates because they were trying to kill somebody from G. Wow.
Both sides were involved in. A lot of back and forth shootings and car bombings because 50 and his team had bulletproof trucks. The targets were 50, Yayo, and Jalil Walters, a.k.a. Baja, or Monster.
Okay. Now, I'm glad that this is mentioned. This guy
You
named
can Meek Mill bitch
this was 50's security for a very long time. His cousin, his cousin's name is Crippy, and he was rolling around with 6ix9ine, and he got sent to jail, obviously, because of that. But everybody that knows 50 knows that this guy Monster has been a security, okay? And I want to just rewind that you guys could hear what was said.
Car bombings because 50 and his team had bulletproof trucks. The targets were 50, Yayo, and Jalil Walters, a.k.a. Baja, or Monster. Monster was 50 top street guy and security at the time.
They already shot at Yayo at the Apollo, but luckily, he was in his bulletproof truck behind it.
On April 20th, 2007, Tony Yayo's mother's house was shot up.
Damn.
Did you ever conduct surveillance of G Unit members?
Yes.
What did you do?
Go to their houses, get their phone records, get their phone numbers, and get their call list. Incoming, outgoing call list.
I ain't gonna lie to you, chat. This is like, you know when people talk about real beef? This is real beef. Like, these niggas want to kill people badly. Holy shit.
Damn, some
Minor
Scarface
adjustments.
shit.
Go to
Car
their
bombs
houses,
and everything.
Stake out their houses.
Did you ever do that surveillance with anyone else?
Yes,
Who were some of the people you did it with?
Jason. I've done it with Jimmy, Andre.
Do you remember any particular times of surveillance?
Yes.
What do you remember?
I remember a couple of times I was outside Baja's house. A couple of times I was outside his sister's house. A time we went to Tony Yayo's mother's house.
Do you remember
Damn.
any times with Jason?
Niggas say he went to Tony Yayo's mother's house. This is how bad Jimmy Henchman wanted to kill 50. And wanted to kill, like, you know, even Tony Yayo because he's like, yo, y'all slapped my son. Wow.
Yes.
What do you remember about the time with Jason?
A few incidents with Jason. One time we drove through Baja's block. We were staking out his sister's house. That was like their headquarters. Another time, we went to Tony Yayo's mother's house, looking for his brother, but we weren't sure. I never seen him before. I was relying on Jason to point him out. I was looking to shoot him, and Jason said he.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he was out for blood.
They were just trying to shoot Tony Yayo's brother just cuz. They wanted to hurt anybody.
They wanted blood.
I never seen him before. I
Henchman
was relying
wanted
on
blood.
Jason to point him out. I was looking to shoot him, and Jason said he thinks that's him, but he's not sure. The dude stopped by the car, took a deep breath, and I told him I wasn't going to shoot an innocent person. I didn't want to make a mistake, so we just pulled off and kept going.
Did Jimmy ever talk to you how this dispute with G-Unit will end?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He told me that these dudes ain't going to be happy until they're carrying a coffin.
I want to talk to you about a particular member of G-Unit. I'm going to show you what is in evidence as Government Exhibit 32. Who is that again?
That's Monster, Baja.
Remind us. What connection?
So they're calling this guy Monster. Everybody, like, you know, just in the industry knows 50 used to roll with this guy named Monster. They're calling him Baja here, but listen to this.
You have 2 G-Unit.
That was Tony Yayo's road manager, the 50's right hand, the street dude.
Did you ever commit or attempt to commit any acts of violence against Baja?
Yes.
About how many acts do you remember?
A lot.
What period are we talking about?
From...
What time period?
From about 2007 to maybe 09.
Can you briefly list the acts that you remember?
I remember sending one of my homeboys to shoot up his house. Sending one...
And I guess that's why, like, some people are like, you know, when it comes to, like, beef and shit like that, bro, dudes' houses was getting shot up. They really want 50 and Yayo. They really want 50 and Yayo, right?
They know they're not gonna. They know they're not gonna get him.
Be like, well, I slapped the nigga because 50's my nigga, but that shit don't matter.
Wanted to shoot up his sister's house.
Sending who? I didn't
see. They did it. They knew they couldn't get 50 and Yayo. That's why they're doing car bombs. They try to do car bombs and shit on Yayo shit. They knew they couldn't get 50 and Yayo, so they were just trying to get anybody they could. They were out for Jimmy Henchman was out for blood. How you gonna slap his little 13-year-old kid and think he's not gonna do nothing? This man's a street dude.
And hear you.
One, the same homeboy to shoot up his sister's house. I remember being outside his sister's house one night after they tried to set up my barbershop on fire. I remember trying to blow up his bulletproof truck and shooting it up in the house. A couple of things.
Any acts involve Jimmy personally?
An attempt.
Let's go through those one at a time. You mentioned that you sent your homeboy to shoot up Baja's house. Who was the homeboy?
A kid named Life.
Where was Baja's house at the time?
In Staten Island.
How did it come to be that you got Life to shoot at Baja's house?
He was a friend of a friend, and he went and called him for me.
You also testified about sending someone to Baja's sister's house. Is that right?
Yes.
Who did you send to his sister's house?
Life. He went with Jason.
Whose idea was that shooting?
Jimmy.
You testified there was an attempted time that Jimmy was involved in.
Yes.
And against who was that done? The attempt?
Against Baja at his house.
The same house on Staten Island?
Yes.
How did it come to be that you went to Baja's house with Jimmy?
I don't understand the question.
Why did you end up there?
He told me to meet him there.
Who told you that?
Jimmy.
What did you do when you saw Jimmy in the Red expedition?
Got in.
Did you start talking to him?
Yes.
What did you talk about?
Spoke about he wanted Baja's house shot up.
What did you do next?
got the gun.
What did you do with it?
I left the car, walked over to Baja's house, went behind the house towards the backyard, and as I was going to shoot up his house,
what happened next?
I saw a little girl in the window. I turned around and left.
Where did you go when you left?
I went back to the car.
See, back then there was the streets ain't got no there ain't no street codes, but back then they had somewhat of a little street code. He said he saw a little girl, and that's why he didn't shoot it up. If that was today, man, they would have shot the little girl and shot everybody else in the house, man. Motherfuckers don't care about nothing today. They shoot the little girl and everything.
What happened when you got in the car?
Jimmy asked me what happened. I told him I didn't do it. He asked why. I told him I saw a little girl in the house. I think it was his daughter, and I wasn't going to shoot up the house. He was upset.
What, if anything, did he say?
Don't be wasting his time.
Did there ever come a time when you were retaliated against by Baja?
Yes.
Generally speaking, what kinds of things happened?
Okay, so now this is about 50 Cent's people retaliate, okay? Listen.
He set my barbershop on fire. Shot up my Escalade twice.
Remember, again, you know, like, that's why I said May knows, he knows what he's doing. 50 can't do none of these things himself. You get what I'm saying? Can't do none of these things himself. He's in a war. 50's in a war that's not, the media thinks it's him versus the game, but in reality, he's going at it versus this nigga that got mad resources that's from where he's from, and shit's going crazy. You get what I'm saying? So you're not gonna see 50 did anything, but if we're talking about G Unit, because 50 is G Unit. 50 is G Unit. So there's, like, we heard all this stuff. They shot up Yayo's mama's house. They shot up Yayo's Bentley. They did that to G Unit. But now we're hearing what G Unit did to them. And yes, it all comes because of Monster.
Did he say?
Don't be wasting his time.
Did there ever come a time when you were retaliated against by Baja?
Yes.
Generally speaking, what kinds of things happened?
He set my barbershop on fire. Shot up my Escalade twice. Tried to kidnap my brother.
Can you describe for the jury what happened the first time they shot at your Escalade?
Yeah. We were followed through Staten Island, sitting, talking to a friend. One person walking on the right side of the vehicle started shooting into the car. A white van cut us off. The driver jumps out. A passenger jumps out. All three of them started shooting into the truck. And as I'm down, I see somebody come through the side of the doors of the van and start shooting into my truck. And they started to all get back in the van. I tried to put my car in drive and ran them with the back of the doors open.
Now, I want to give some context here, people. So, 50's beefing with Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman is so bloodthirsty. He wants 50 dead. He wants, like, he's not the first person to want 50 dead, but there's a lot of people that want 50 dead. Here's their frustration with 50, okay? Their frustration with 50 is that 50's always in a bulletproof vehicle.
Yep. They can't
50's
get
not
to him.
just exposing himself and just leaving himself available. He's always protected. So you're going to hear them talk a lot about bulletproof vehicles.
Of the vehicle, started shooting into the car. A white van cut us off. The driver jumps out. A passenger jumps out. All three of them started shooting into the truck. And as I'm down, I see somebody come through the side of the doors of the van and start shooting into my truck. And they started to all get back in the van. I tried to put my car in drive and ran them with the back of the doors open. And a lot of shots came out the back doors into my windshield.
Damn.
I ducked again. Me and the passenger ducked again. And somebody started firing at them out the window in the projects. And they drove off.
Were you hit in that incident?
No.
Remind us, what color was the van?
It was a white van.
Did you learn whose van that it was?
Yes.
How did you learn it?
Jimmy told me it belonged to Tony Yayo's brother.
What about the second time that your car got shot up?
So clearly, G-Unit is retaliating in their own way. You know, what I'm going to be honest with you, Mano, respectfully to you, you know, again, I'm not a street dude, but what you said on Vlad was police shit. Because what you have now said, when you're like 50 soft, he never did nothing, they got spanked. The only way for 50 to actually defend himself is to admit to crimes. 50's crew, I'm telling you what they were doing to 50's crew, and I'm telling you what 50's crew was doing to them. Or they're telling you what 50's crew was doing to them. What do you think 50's demeanor was?
I had just left the barbershop and just put a gun inside the barbershop for those guys to protect themselves. And as I was leaving, I saw a guy standing by the store about a half a block away holding a bag. As I'm walking to the truck, he's walking towards me. I get in the truck, I start it up, I see him turn the corner, drop his bag, pull out his gun, and start shooting into my truck.
What did you do with your truck after it got shot up that time?
I gave it to some guy I had in Brooklyn to strip it and make it disappear.
Let's talk about the last incident you mentioned with respect to Baha. You said you tried to blow up his truck?
Yes.
Was that before or after your trucks got shot at?
Aiden, what up? Oh, okay. Hold on. I apologize, Chad. I'm sorry. I know that was not professional, and I'm sorry. Okay, back to the video.
After my trucks got shot up.
Whose idea was this incident?
It was my idea to make him lose the truck.
Why did you want to do that?
Because I felt that they felt that they were untouchable, that they were invincible, because they had all these bulletproof trucks. And I felt that was the only difference between me and him that made it harder for me to catch up with him.
Where was the truck when you tried to blow it up?
In front of his house.
Were you there by yourself or with someone else?
At that time, I was with Andre.
What happened with you and Andre?
The time it was blown up?
Yes.
We made some Molotov cocktail, and we was going to throw it at the house. I was going to throw one at the truck, and he would fire the shots into the house, and I would fire the shots into the truck. We were open that I would hit the truck first, and hoping that he would come outside, or he was supposed to hit the house first with the Molotov cocktail.
Who is the he that you are talking about?
Andre. And hopefully Baha would then come running out the house that was on fire, and then we would ambush him.
Did that plan work? What happened?
Andre, in throwing his Molotov cocktail, burnt himself. But to me, it was more important for him to lose the truck than to set the house on fire.
What did you do?
I threw mine at the truck and shot up the truck and the house with it.
Next blog, I'm gonna be in Brooklyn. Next blog after that, I'm gonna be in Bronx. Next blog after that, I'm gonna be in Staten Island. Y'all know out there with us. Y'all know what time. We be in Staten Island, we be in Harlem. I mean, come on, son. Shooters on deck. Shooters on deck, nigga.
It's gonna be a cold summer.
I got Louis from Paris, nigga. I ain't got nothing to do with it. It's gonna be a cold summer for y'all. Cold summer. Listen, we got bulletproof trucks, man. We made for this shit, man. You crazy, nigga? I ain't trying to glorify the beef, but when they leave it or not, you see grass and all that shit. Look, you see grass and all that. Let me tell you something. This is like Compton back here. Shot my mom's crib up like 22 times. Fifth got shot 9 times in the back block. Man, get hit back here.
Damn.
You know? Tried to kill my brother right here on this block right here. Yeah. Shot to my brother, yes. We out here.
All those back and forth, but nobody dropped yet because 50 Cent of them are not easily accessible. 50 wasn't the type of guy you would catch in a club, even though he raps saying you can find him in a club. 50 moved militant, no unnecessary pop-ups and heavy protection around them, from the bulletproof trucks to the ex-Marines and military personnel he had as security. Even WAP 100 would attest to that.
You don't see them unless they want you to see them. And even if you do see them, when you see them, you can't get to them. They played with us on purpose. Like, yo, what? 50 he gonna be at the SLS hotel. What? Yeah, little bar area over there. He gonna be here, come down. Paul Root, we through there. This one is on. He pulled up in this SLS hotel, come in that like 10 of us. We coming in this and I stop, I'm looking around. I'm like, something don't seem right about this scenery. Man had about 8 Navy SEALs, like this shit in the air, just moving with the tactical head. They see this nigga got the moving, they position around us to look back at us and smirk. Yeah, we ain't got no win with that. See you later, homie. We ain't got no. He did that on the West Coast. He did that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Took a bag.
So it was all cat and mouse game between both camps till it came time for 50 Cent and Akon video shoot in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Listen to this.
On October 22nd, 2007.
I told you about this.
50 Cent's third album, Curtis,
had just dropped on September 7, 2007, and he had to shoot videos for his single. Henchman, who is thirsty for blood, is waiting on them in a parking lot nearby, ready to ambush with his silencer on his pistol. His adrenaline was all the way at 1,000 that he had accidentally let off a shot in the car, causing it to jam and malfunction while they were following one of 50's security team members from the shoot.
With respect to this incident, walk us through what happened.
We had found out that they were shooting a video. G-Unit was shooting a video somewhere in New Jersey, in Bayonne. And so we went over there.
This shit's
and when it was
interesting.
over, we followed one of the cars leaving there.
This
which
shit's
was the
very
bodyguard.
interesting.
And on the way back to New York, and right before the Holland Tunnel, we ended up right next to him where Jimmy tried to shoot out the back window, but the gun jammed and it didn't go off.
When you got off the ramp, you said Jimmy tried to shoot.
Yeah,
What weapon did he use?
the same machine gun.
The machine gun he used to shoot Yeo's mother's house.
Right,
It's the one with the silencer.
right.
What did you hear?
I heard a sound because after it like jammed, he was trying to, I guess, fix it, and it went off in the car. It shot through the floor. Sounded like a thud or something.
Damn.
Luckily for 50 Cent and them at the time, the plot wasn't successful. G-Unit dropped their Terminate on Sight album in July of 2008, their second and last commercial drop as a unit. This was, in my opinion,
God,
their
that
best
shit was-
collaboration as they all went super hard because people were starting to lose interest in their music. The album debuted at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard
I ain't gonna
200
lie, I never heard the whole
with
album.
sales of 102,000 copies in its first week.
Nothing.
Game drops LAX album on August 26, 2008, and it debuted at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard 200, selling 238,000 copies in its
sold
first
more.
week. My Life, featuring Lil Wayne, was a dope single, and Game is completely
Yeah, that was a
abandoned
hard song.
his G-Unit
Yeah,
attacks
that
on
was a
Wax.
hard song.
2 years go by, and Henchman gets information that Lodi Mack, who took the rap for Yayo, was coming home from prison. Slim, a member of Jimmy's crew, was locked up with Lodi Mack, but Lodi had no idea. And Slim
That's how he
befriended
ended up
Lodi's
getting the
bunkmate,
drop.
who then
Yeah,
Did
he
you
ended
do
up
what
killing
caused
him.
you to be detained in federal custody?
Someone's done.
drug crimes and murder.
When did the murder occur, approximately?
2009, September,
And where did the murder occur?
in the Bronx, New York.
If you know, who was the victim of the murder?
Lowell Fletcher,
Did he have any nicknames?
Lodi Mack,
Did you participate in the murder alone or with others?
with others.
Can you please name for the jury who the others are who participated in the murder?
Brian McLeod, Derek Grant, James Roseman, and Rodney Johnson,
What was Roseman's role in the murder?
the orchestrator,
What was Grant's role in the murder?
the shooter.
What was McLeod's role in the murder?
He lured the guy dead.
The guy is Lowell Fletcher.
Yeah,
And what was your role?
the driver. 50 Cent drops his 4th studio album Before I Self-Destruct on November 9th, 2009.
Garbage.
The album sold 160,000 copies in its first week, debuting at number 5 on the U.S. Billboard 200, giving 50 Cent his 4th consecutive top 5 album in the U.S. Around this time is when 50 started pivoting into films, making mini movies with the Crime Wave video and also the Before I Self-Destruct DVD. He'd been putting out visuals way back, but I believe this is when he started taking it up a notch. Back to the Henchman and the 50 beef. After the hit on Lodi Mack, 2
Here we
years
go.
go by. It's now 2011, and Jimmy was arrested along with his guys who eventually told everything.
Now the funny part is, which they're kind of leaving out, everybody was looking at 50 Cent like, yo, you ain't gonna retaliate for your man. It's like Slide for Vaughn type shit, right? Like, yo, you not gonna, bro, like the streets know you not gonna slide for your man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, I guess hindsight's 2020. Everybody look at 50
good
and
little
say
doc.
he was incredibly smart
Good little documentary.
to not retaliate because essentially, you know, this guy got locked up.
That I showed here. Each side started pointing the finger at each other. Jimmy said he only wanted them to bring him Yayo and Fletcher,
and not
So he got locked up for drugs at first, and then he went down for murder for hire. But he always contested the murder for hire shit. He claimed that he never wanted to murder no one. And when they said, "Well, what about you? You know, seemingly wanted to get with the guys who slapped your son," he was like, "Nah, I just want him to bring them to me, and I wasn't gonna do nothing
to shoot them."
You believe that?
Brian McLeod to kill Llewellyn Fletcher. You know, one of the things that I did ask Brian McLeod to do was I asked him to bring Fletcher or Yayo to me. So took it upon himself and he killed
50's an
Llewellyn
asshole.
Fletcher. So
that's his op talking, Jimmy Henson.
Here's the most important thing out of this whole thing. I'm not the murderer here. The murderer in this whole situation is home. All he had to do was point the finger at me, and he went home. And I'm in jail for life when I never hired him to kill anyone. So, you know,
OG Jimmy the Rat.
What 50 was referring to was the case Jimmy had in Cali back in the day. The New York Daily News also reported on it. But in an interview with the person that was allegedly snitched on, he claimed something totally different. The Game dropped his fourth album, the Red Album, in August of 2011. The album debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200, selling 98,000 copies in its first week, with singles Red Nation and Pot of Gold. Jimmy was subsequently convicted in 2014 and sentenced to multiple life sentences, both running a drug operation that brought in $11 million a year and also for the murder for hire plot on Lodi Mac. There's been this long-running rumor that Henchman has something to do with Tupac robbery and shooting.
Yeah, so the same guy supposedly had told people to go rob Tupac, and that's also a big thing.
Back in the day. But I didn't
remember Tupac got shot like 4 or 5 times. They're saying he instructed people to go rob him.
Anything to corroborate that claim. What I did find on Jason Williams' superseding docs is where it states cooperating witness number 3 further end Roseman's trust when, in 2005, he shot rival rap producer Suge Knight at Roseman's behest inside a crowded nightclub in Miami, Florida. That was at Kanye West party. And the cooperating witness number 3 was none other than Trigger Happy Tef. 50 dropped Hold On in 2014.
Couple minutes.
And references
We're almost
the
out
case.
On the phone, I heard Ye smack the shit out of kid. Now Jimmy got life. Go smack him again.
50 holds grudges, and I don't blame him. Somebody lost their life.
So basically, the dude got life over his kid getting smacked.
50 making
and
fun of
50
it.
then raps. I heard Yayo did blah blah, and smack somebody kid. I heard the nigga got life. Just go smack him again. Like, oh my god, this guy's like
life in the situation.
Sneaky nigga sprayed that semi at your mama crib with a silencer. We couldn't even hear the shit.
Throughout the years that followed after Henchman's incarceration, the Game has made numerous attempts to reconcile with 50, but Fifth is not ready or willing to be buddy with him. They eventually chop it up in the club, while Fifth was in LA. Notice the guy to the left of 50 looking around. That's Monster.
That's
He was
Monster
one
right
of-
here. Wow.
Adam versus Tam on the next brand risk card.
I knew that was coming.
The beef between 50 Cent and the Florida. That was at Red Nation. And
we couldn't even hear the shit.
Throughout the years that followed after Henchman's incarceration, the Game has made numerous attempts to reconcile with 50, but Fifth is not ready or willing to be buddy with him. They eventually chop it up in the club, while Fifth was in LA. Notice the guy to the left of 50 looking around. That's Monster. He was one of Henchman's main target. His house was shot up, bulletproof truck blown up during the height of the beef, so his antennas were raised, and he kept his head on a swivel. Can you imagine how big they would have been if Henchman wasn't in Game's ears? That whole beef split up the fan base, while also generating a buzz for their albums. In the end, 50 diversified into film and television, and the Game is still the Game, and Henchman is doing life.
I want to apologize to the massive for...
Now, this is one of the saddest videos I've ever seen, Chad. I actually forgot this video. So, when Jimmy Henchman got sentenced, to life. He basically made a
Multiple
video in a
life
cell. Clearly, he had some recording
sentences.
device, and this is sad.
Letting these sucker ass niggas catch me out there like that. I talk about suckers, I'm talking about those who perpetrated to be
He meant perpetrated.
either my friend who were wearing wiretaps, who got on the stand and lied. Man, I want to apologize to those that I let down for letting some suckers play me. And I just want you to know, man, that I didn't know.
So who won in this war? Let me know what you think in the comments, man. Until next time, peace.
I don't know.
Really interesting situation, Chad. I kid you not. That apology is like, it's kind of eerie, Chad. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is the apology that Jimmy Henchman does when he, like, after he pretty much gets slammed. And not gonna lie, it's kind of like, it's kind of cryptic, Chad. Listen, hold on. Here's a full one.
Man, I want to apologize. I want to
Too
apologize.
late to
the
apologize now.
letting these sucker ass niggas catch me out there like that. I talk about suckers, I'm talking about those who perpetrated to be either my friend who were wearing wiretaps, who got on the stand and lied. Man, I want to apologize to those that I let down for letting some suckers play me. And I just want you to know, man, that I didn't know. I just didn't know that these dudes was that jealous. That jealousy would allow them or make them do the things that they did. And it's almost like a sucker.
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on, man? I just had the sense of...
Okay. All right. So, I wanted the full video. My bad.
Man, that's it.
All right. Where's the video? I ain't gonna lie to you. I think you guys kind of got it. We don't need to, like, drag it here.
Yeah, that was a good little video. What y'all think? 50 definitely not saw. All that shit that's all facts. They were really going at it, man. So I don't know what Mano talking about. This shit fake or this and that and da-da-da. All that shit is all real, man. And that shit's, yeah, and it's deeper than that. Ja Rule's involved too with all that bullshit. It's deeper than that. But all right, y'all.